Well, you saw last night, if you don't have all your weapons, it doesn't matter if they get stops or not. And they actually had a really good defensive night, holding the Lakers to 98 points, only 8 threes. They're shooting an NBA best from three-point, 42% since Harden has been there. They have 5 players shooting better than 40% from the three. So what we learned last night is that KD doesn't need to be on the floor for Harden and Kyrie and the rest of the Nets to be dominant. Obviously, the Lakers were shorthanded. They didn't have Shooter. They didn't have Anthony Davis. But they had a great showing last night. It was a dominant performance. LeBron played amazing, and it just didn't matter. And this is a Lakers team that's still very complete. They have great chemistry. I actually expected it to be a much closer game at the end. So I was very impressed with the Nets last night. I think it's much more about what the Nets are doing and them getting into a flow and a rhythm at this point in the season.
I'm with you, Joy. This was all about the Nets. They were phenomenal, and they look like they're going to be phenomenal. A news flash for people. They're winning the East, period. They are winning the East, and I'm going to hold off right now on predicting more, but I want to watch them for a little bit, but it could be more. They could win this whole thing. They're unstoppable. And they, as Joy said, they didn't even have their best offensive player, and they were unstoppable. And I know that Anthony Davis and Dennis Schroeder, 2 of the Lakers' best defenders, were not on the floor. And this is a strange thing, and I don't really buy it, but technically, the numbers, the analytics actually say they're better defensively without AD and Dennis Schroeder. They are by far the #1 defensive team in the league when those 2 aren't on the floor, and they're #1 when those 2 are on the floor. So you had the best offense minus its best scorer against the best defense minus its best defender. So you can call that a wash. And Brooklyn just ran roughshod over them. They shot 61% from the field as far as effective field goal percentage. Greg, the thing with Brooklyn is they can get an open shot every single time down the court because they've got the 2 playmakers, and when Durant's there, the 3 that draw double and triple teams. So they're always going to get an open look, and they're surrounded by snipers. Joe Harris is shooting 51% from 3. Joy mentioned that they've been the best three-point shooting team in the league with Harden. They've got 5 guys shooting 42% or better from 3. News flash for everybody. NBA players are terrific at hitting open three-point shots. If you ever watch them in practice, it's ridiculous. They're getting open threes every trip down, and that's why they're tough to beat. Finally, I'll say this, Greg. The small ball lineup with Jeff Green at center is paying major dividends. They're outscoring opponents by 10 points per 100 possessions with Green at center. We saw what they did against Phoenix the other night. They did it again in the first quarter against the Lakers because no one in the league, including Philadelphia, has someone that's going to punish you consistently for playing small ball. Even Joel Embiid plays a lot on the perimeter, so they can get away, the Nets, with playing Jeff Green at center. Marc Gasol certainly wasn't going to punish you. So this is a team to be reckoned with, Greg.
Yeah, I'm with both of you guys, and I'm just going to say this. I'm done needing to be convinced that Kyrie can play with Harden and all 3 of these guys can actually develop that chemistry. Because when we looked at that game last night, what we saw was exactly what we needed to see. Can those 2, which are the most important pieces as far as getting chemistry and developing that and being on the court together and developing that rapport and playing side by side at the same time for a duration of the game, they got it done, and they got it done seamlessly. And they were able to get others involved, as you alluded to, Chris. And Joy, you mentioned it, shooting from the field and three-point land, they have been lights out. And what's most impressive and scary for the rest of the league is, like you said, Chris, they're doing it without Kevin Durant on the court. Now, you can say whatever you want to say about they haven't played all together. I'm done saying it because I truly believe Kevin Durant is one of those players in this league that can just be inserted at any moment, anytime because of his level of efficiency. You talk about a player that can get his shot off with less volume than most stars in this league. And when you watch them up against the Lakers, they rebounded well. Joy, you mentioned their defense. It's not about how well they defend. It's Chris, you mentioned this a couple days ago. It's when they get their stops. And they were showing effort last night. They played with high energy. They passed the ball. The ball didn't really stall. But, Chris, you said this to me a couple years ago about Kyrie and superstars in the postseason. You got to have them. And you got to have them to close games. Well, they got 3 of arguably the best closers in all of the National Basketball Association with James, KD, and Kyrie. So I don't see that being a problem in the postseason. And their chemistry, we can scratch that. These guys like to play basketball. They enjoy one another. You see the camaraderie on the sideline, even when they're not in. I'm done questioning it. This team is going to be for real. They are for real.
Well, Greg, the chemistry thing, obviously, like KD and Harden played together. It was a long time ago, but, they've already played together. So it was always the question of where is Kyrie going to fit in? And Kyrie is kind of a wild card, and we saw a little bit of that already this season. But to me, that conversation, as I mentioned, with Kyrie and Harden, and Kyrie kind of just giving it over to Harden, I think was very significant. Roles, to me, are vital for championship level organizations and teams. Everyone buying into their role, playing their role to the best of their capabilities, really emphasizing the team, what's best for us, what's going to make us better, and that will make me better. I thought that was a big move by Kyrie, and I think that you're seeing it pay off. Maybe Harden was already in that role, but sometimes you just need to say it, like it's really yours, like embody it, and I will do what I do. They're playing amazing basketball right now. I'm with you, Greg. Like the defensive side of things is not really scaring me. I think you saw that last night. If you get a stop, they're going to get a shot on the other end. So how much defense do they really need to play? I don't want to get crazy, but because obviously we know once it gets down to the deep in the playoffs and championship levels, you're going to have to play some defense. But I'm looking around the league like who can put up these numbers from 3 to keep up with them.
They only need to be adequate defensively. They don't need to be the bad boy Pistons or the Michael Jordan Bulls. They just need to be adequate, and they've been that lately in this 5-game winning streak against good teams. I mean, Phoenix, Golden State, the Lakers, they're beating good teams. They have ranked 18th in the league defensively. That's about where they need to be. If they're 18th best defensive team in the league, how you going to beat them? Because you can't stop them. So, and Kevin Durant is only going to help that. In fact, with James Harden and Kyrie taking a lot of the offensive scoring load, then Durant can theoretically at least focus even more on defense. So they're coming together well, and again, they're going to be tough to beat.
They are. Let's talk some football. There was a big trade yesterday. Carson Wentz is headed to Indy. We'll be breaking down who won and who lost the trade. That's next on First Things First.